Yo, crypto nation and mining family, welcome to the State of Economics 101, episode 8. So, just been like a little something that I've been kind of compiling together. I've done a lot of self-taught market understanding, market fundamentals and stuff like that, and I find that, if I can give you guys a little bit of the knowledge that I have over to you, might help you have a better understanding of why you are losing money or making money. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yo, what up, automatic beats? F to the A. Yeah, that's right. Right. What up, Crypto Craig? Yo, F to the A Wednesday. Yes, sir. Stopping by to say hi at the eye doctor. You getting glasses or something, bro? Hopefully it's just glasses or contacts, nothing serious. FTC is what? Or less than BTC? Yeah. I can kind of, I guess. I don't even know what the hell is FTC. But what is going on, everybody? As you are kind of sliding on in here and all that good stuff, certainly smash that lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Guys, let's go ahead and get right in. Feathercoin talk. Oh my god. Oh my god. Feathercoin talk. Oh my god, you don't know. Oh, what's wrong with you? Man, it's not Bitcoin. It's like the only bird coin that matters. Oh my god. Isn't that like a file coin? It's like, no, pigeon coin, bro. Uh-oh, now we got the bird. Bro, man, it's all about the chicken coin, dude. Litecoin. Hold on here. Pumpkin. It's all about that Litecoin, bro. The OG feather coin. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rob Zombie. Yep. I'm an OG. I'm OG is all get out, man. I'm a white zombie fan, dude. I'm just saying, dude. But it is all about the chunking. If you're gonna get into feather style coins, it's all about that Litecoin. I'm just saying. Yes, I do have some Litecoin, not a whole lot, but a little bit. So let's go ahead and dig into the state of economics, guys. Let's take a look at markets and all that good stuff, or the bad. S&P 500 down almost a half a point. NASDAQ 100 down almost a full point. Bitcoin is up right now, almost 1 point. It's like 1.6% right now. It's up. The U.S. dollar is taking a little bit of a loss at 0.37%. Just remember, guys, the dollar index is a slower moving market. Has a lot of lagging indicators on there. So you're never going to really see massive movements unless something drastic happens, okay? Dow Jones Industrial Average is nominally up. Same thing with the Russell 2000, nominally up. Good performing stocks that have been coming out that have been usually good. Apple's pulled back hard at almost 1.5%. They can pull back a little harder. They like their communist dictators over in their overlords in China, chickadee China. We got AMD having a nominally bad day at taking a 0.37% pullback. Amazon taking a little over 2% of a hit on that Amazon. So, and something like that should be that should be well foreseen. There's no People are going back to their regular purchasing habits, buying stuff locally. You're going to see that Amazon deliveries will be down from its peak. And since it's down from its peak, a lot of the demand is going away from Amazon. And Amazon is losing, just kind of pulling back since they're off of their all-time high. Hype train is over. Tesla pulling back 1.5, almost 1.5%. Tesla's kind of been, they've been embattling with the government. Same thing with Elon. So there's a little bit of bad press going around anything that touches Elon at this point. So even though that nothing fundamentally has changed in Tesla, it's seeing a retracement. Now, seeing that everything is seeing a retracement, I'm not going to say that anything fundamentally has changed with Tesla to warrant it. I think it's just there are a few market numbers that have come out that are showing that market has printed out a higher than expected inflation number. They were expecting it to get closer to 5% inflation. We rode up high. I think it was like 6%. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was supposed to be like 6%. And we printed a 6.4%. And I'll kind of get into that and where I get my information from on all of that stuff. So coming into crypto, the crypto market cap is up 2%, little over $1 trillion USD, guys. And just to kind of give you, I remember days before crypto market cap was still in the billions. They weren't tickling the trillions yet. They were in the billions, but not the trillions. So there's a lot more market growth. Ethereum being our top earner so far of the day, looks like we might be crossing back up to that $24,000 per Bitcoin. Ethereum having a pretty decent day itself. Don't know how, but they're up 3%. But usually when you have something that has less, how can I put this? For something that costs less, becomes more of a notable vehicle of investment because people can get more of it. Because of that, if the market prints out a bullish signal, something of a smaller market cap can foreseeably have a higher upswing. Where I can sit there and tell you where we're going to see that, look at Avalanche, 3.46%, trading at $17. Uniswap, almost up 5%, trading at $6. It's like, depending on where you're buying, depends on if this was a good enough move to put you back into profits. Most of the market is been just absolutely garbage. So depending on when you got into each one of these markets, if you are even playing in those markets, I'm only in Bitcoin. So, I have some things here and there of other coins, but it's been things that I've mined and kind of playing around with things. So yeah, I still try to stay on, I like to understand the market that I'm playing with. And I realize that once I put my money, my Bitcoin into those markets, that I just pretend that I just lost that money. So that's my rationality behind it. I planned on playing with it, but not because I wanted to, how can I put it? Like, because I wanted to hold on to something. It was just that there was certain things I wanted to check out. And sometimes the best way to check something out is actually sending a transaction of a sort through the network to do something. And then you can kind of get a little bit of an understanding of, oh, wow, the wallet's clunky, the wallet's not clunky. I've played with some really garbage markets. And I just kind of, that's why I stay in Bitcoin, a little bit of Litecoin, Doge, just for the just keep the Doge for the lulz. It's not an investment vehicle. It's lulz. Forex market, which is just trading different currencies. I don't expect anybody here to be playing in those. Futures markets. This is a market where I tell people, be careful. I wouldn't play in this market. This is where people lose your money gambling. So you got paper gold down 0.1, nominally nothing. Silver's nominally nothing down. Crude oil's nominally nothing down. Hey, I got some updates. They finally updated. I had a feeling it was going to be at the end of the month that they would have to print the oil reserves. So we get to sit there and actually look into December, guys. Natural gas flatlining because they burn it off. It's not feasible for them to just pipe it off anywhere. I think that's why the U.S. was trying to blow up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline so that they can start releasing some of the natural gas reserves and make some of these companies profitable. I don't know. That's just my tinfoil hat. Corn's up almost 1 point, and that Bitcoin in the futures market is almost a half a point up. That would help Grayscale GPT. So Grayscale Bitcoin, which is a futures market, being up almost a 0.5%, is going to definitely help out them since they had a little exposure to FTX. But they're still doing good. So I mean, I'll give them that. And then bonds, I usually tell people to kind of stay away from bonds altogether, guys. This is like the scariest thing. U.S. You get a 10-year bond, you're going to lose 0.05%. Would you loan anybody anything to lose money? Because if you get into the U.S. bond market, you get to buy that joy. Same thing if you go into the euro. Euro is a little bit worse. The 10-year bond on that is you would be losing 0.37% of your bond value over the course of 10 years. Every year you would lose that much. That's horrible. Germany, they're down the same amount as Europe because it's basically the same economy. Japan's yield is at 0.2 on the 10-year, but they've got market control. Japan basically owns 80% of everything in there, and it's a zombie, very much a zombie economy. It works, but not very well. It's like, and you can see that they're, them being up 0.2%, to a lot of the bond vigilantes out there that because it's the Japanese market, they don't get excited over that. UK is almost up 1%. And seeing that there's a yield is going positive is not a good sign. Because that means that they're actively pumping money into it. I mean, granted, yes, you're gonna make money on it, but because of the fact that the UK is doing quantitative easing again, this definitely is a trademark of money being pumped into the market because now it looks like the UK can pay its bills. It just printed money. This is like a Trojan horse almost. The U.S. and Euro and Germany and India are at least trying to be semi-honest about it. They're not completely hiding it behind all the quantitative easing that they do. They might say that they're not doing quantitative easing, but they're still each one of the banks are still printing money at will. They did not rescind some of the old the legislation going through COVID. They have not taken that power away from the banks. The banks are endlessly printing money for anything that anybody really wants, as long as you halfway qualify with a pulse. Seeing that some of these bonds are doing kind of junky, it's a little bit more of an honest tale, even though that they're still hiding it behind false numbers. But Japan and UK. You have market control going on to get these yields right now. You're not going to sit there and tell me that in an economy where people are still each government's still printing money, that you're going to be able to yield out positive yields on bonds. This is some of the reasons why people will say, hey, don't sit there and take this, because what does it matter if you get this 20% return on your investment if they've inflated it away 45% in that same amount of time? So you've lost before you. There's better vehicle and better investment vehicles than getting into a 10-year bond that has market manipulation behind it. So this is where people, it's like I hear older people going bonds, gold, silver, and I tell people the bonds are dead. You're buying the government's debt, and they're trying to pawn it off onto you, a bag holder, and not realize that they're stealing from you in the process. Think about it. So I mean, just kind of stay. I usually tell people to stay the hell away from bonds, just because each one of these governments has their hand in the cookie jar, 100%. So going into that sweet busy Bitcoin, guys, check this out. It is definitely staying within this channel line of support. Definitely setting up a great foundation. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was alone on predicting this, but it was very easy. Once I saw the setup starting to happen, I was like, oh, this is where we're rocketing to. And we're going to hold it. It's not we're getting rejected at the $25,000 per Bitcoin, guys. So that would be a bearish sentiment if we're getting rejected off 25. But how can you call it a rejection if we're going to be oscillating sideways within the $22,000 to $24,000 range? I think it just happened to go a little bit into a bubble territory. People took their positions off the table, pulled the market back. You're now going to start seeing some of that arbitrage as it starts working its way back up, and you can definitely sit there and see that in correlation here. It's printing out some of my charts are printing out sell signals going on to this. It was a sell signal on a single candle. My oscillator here did not agree with the sell off, so it was like that this little market right now is happening so much faster because my oscillator down here printed a sell off. It predicted it down here in the oscillator, but did not predict it up here with the moving average with the Bitcoin volume going on. So it couldn't predict it through here that it was a sell-off position until 4 days after it actually started happening. And now we're sitting here seeing what they call spinning top, dojis, however you want to look at it. It has a wick on both ends and a small little body in between. This is usually a market indecisiveness. So we've been seeing this for 3 days as everything is now consolidating. So this is where you see a little bit of turbulence, and we have to see if they're going to be looking at taking stuff off the table here once more, and we have more of a push downward for a little bit, or if this is just a really harsh tightening before we make an upward movement. It's anybody's game right now. We're dealing with 4 days of trading perfectly sideways. I mean, perfectly sideways. We're finishing off today a little bit more green. Even if we have a couple of more spinning tops that are green candles, it shows that we're holding a neckline, and it could break down. A support level can become resistance. If we test the support too many times, it becomes resistance. And that would be the bearish sentiment that people say that we got rejected off the 25,000 and that it's time to come back down. If enough people believe that, and there's enough money involved on that side of selling, you can sit there and bring the market down. But to see it trading sideways, and we're still within this channel, I think we're going to be basically constraining a little bit more, and we're going to pop back up a little bit again, because if you look at it, we've put in a higher low and a higher high from the last little cycle. So it's more feasible that we've pulled back, rested, and we're about to come up, put another top here. I would like to see us put a third market all-time high top within this market cycle before the next halving. If we can do that, it will be the first time in Bitcoin history that we had a triple top within one 4-year cycle. I think that just shows that there's more market movement trying to push upward on the pricing, with each country's currency weakening in purchasing power in real time, and basically Bitcoin's accounting for all of that. So I would just kind of keep an eye on it. I'm not saying that it's gonna, we can sit there and kind of oscillate right here. It could be just kind of tightening up, and we're gonna oscillate back and forth right into this channel here. It very well could, but just note that we could. This could be a breakdown. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would figure tomorrow or the next day, in the next 2 days, I would guess. All right, this is just an educated guess at my end. I would guess that we'll see where the market's feeling more bullish or bearish, because the moving average will start tightening up, and with a tightening moving average, that puts a lot of market pressure down, and that's usually where you'll see where the market finally decides what the price of Bitcoin will be on the next day. So just kind of keep an eye on it. I wouldn't say it's a selling position quite yet. It still looks like we're bullish. So there is that. I'm going to guess that we'll move up a little bit. I'm not looking for like a huge just snap off like we did back here, guys. I'm not looking for this. But we can see a little snap up like this, and just kind of put in another higher high and a higher low. And that'll signify a cyclical bull market in a bear market. And if we can continue that out for a couple of months, that will put us into bull market territory and break the bear. So there, it's like we're going to be looking at the markets like this, guys. This is just the market from what I understand from traditional stocks that I used to play with way once upon a time, and from how the market looks at from the miner that has to be able to live on this stuff. So I pay attention to this. I see what some things that can influence other things. So I don't think we're seeing enough FUD in the market to really crush at least a small cyclical bull market inside of a bear market. But again, we have to be able to sustain an upward trend for a couple of consecutive months before you can actually call it a bull run. So there is that, guys. And check this out. I love this chart here. This is one of my favorite things to look at, because this is real time. The USDebtClock.org. So we can watch in real time what the national debt is being incurred right now. And like I said, they're printing money at a rate faster than they can tax. That is a bad problem. As of right now, federal tax revenue is like $4 trillion. Our debt is $31 trillion. How the hell are we going to ever even pay off our debt, even though it's going to be accruing interest on said debt also? What up, Fudweiser? Yeah, a little FUD keeps you frosty. FA. You know it, my dude. You know it. So, if you are in the United States, the debt per citizen. So, if every person in the United States were to pay, basically we'll call it $100,000 per citizen in the entire United States, we could pay off the national debt. Or, for instance, for each one of the taxpayers, because not every citizen is a tax-paying citizen. This is that joke where they say, You're born with $100,000 worth of debt the day you were born. And you're like, what? That's bogus. This is the number they're looking at, $94,427. We might as well just call it $100,000. Let's just be real. And for the tax-paying group, people who earn a living, your taxpayer burden is $250,000 per taxpayer. If everybody were to pay $250,000 each, the national debt would be gone. But I'm sorry, that's more than what most people make within a year. Let alone they have to be able to put food on their table and a roof over their head. I mean, what? We're going to be looking at a park with a bunch of tents in there going, this is a luxury apartment? No, that's not how things work. Never has worked that way and never will. I think at some point in time you will see a civil war break out if they try to enforce something like that. Now, and people don't look at this either. With the federal tax revenue, right? Each citizen, on average, now some people will pay a lot more, some people will pay less, okay? So this might not be you particularly. They're taking it as an average of all people that are paying in. And they just average everybody's tax revenue out, right? And remember, every time you get gas, you're getting taxed. Every time that you get candy bars or chips, you get food, anything you do that you're going to get taxed on. So sometimes think about the tax implementations of everything that you're purchasing to go in with this. But on average, the average person pays almost $14,000 in taxes. Whether this is from owning a house, because that could be $8,000 to $12,000 in taxes alone, depending on where your house is, plus your income tax, right? I mean, it's like, it is so outrageous. And then you have each individual state. We're not even talking, we're talking federal and then state on this. The state, the debt per citizen is $3,728 average per state. Some states owe way more, like California, Newport, New York area, the Newport districts. Local debt per citizen is typically around $6,944. Some of that is drowned up through property taxes and stuff like that. That is usually where a big portion of taxes come from for local budgets, is through all the taxation. And that's basically how New York's been riding, is that they've made the properties worth, 50 million times more than what it's supposed to be worth, because now the taxes on it are way higher. And they're giving all these property owners tax write-offs here and there to be able to deal with it. But this is how, like, New York and California try to budget everything, is through property tax. So basically, the lifetime of owning a property, most people will end up in taxation alone spending more than what their house is worth. There are people that are alive today that bought their houses in the 40s, right? And those people are now paying, in the 40s, they probably paid $25,000, maybe $30,000 for their property and home. And now they're in a lifetime, they're getting taxed more than what. I mean, my grandfather, whenever he bought the house he has right now, it was like $19,000 for my grandfather's house in Chicago. $19,000. My grandfather was making $25,000 a year. He made more than what his house was worth. So theoretically, he could pay it off in 1 year. Theoretically, right? If you didn't factor in life. So that meant he was in good standings to be able to get a loan for this. This is what they call good credit, right? We no longer see that. where now it's the other way around, where you know houses are, a good house in a good neighborhood, you're $250,000 and up. Most people's average income is like right around 50,000 a year per working person. That means that in the lifetime, you're gonna be more in debt than tomorrow than where you are today, and that's also a huge problem. And that adds up to why inflation's going rampant, because people are borrowing more money, which is more currency creation. Sounds like a car loan now. Exactly, Nathan. Exactly, bro. Exactly. And people don't realize that as everybody's sitting here taking a loan out for a car, taking a loan out for a motorcycle, taking a loan out for a sports utility vehicle, taking a loan out for a house, and it's like, and they're getting loans for houses that they are being outpriced on. Most people can't afford a house. Why do I say most people can't even afford a house? Because you can't even afford the down payment. And how do I know most people can't afford the down payment? Think about it this way. Down payment for a good person in good standings is supposed to be 20% down on the loan. Most people, you get an apartment, your apartment's $1,500, $2,000 a month. How the hell are you going to save any money when you're sitting there spending most of your money on being able to keep a roof over your head, which is one of the most important things you need to be doing? So it's like in your earning potential is not pacing what the value of everything else is turning into. So we have a huge disconnect. So it's putting more pressure on the government and the banks to sit there and just create more money, which that creation of money is where the problem starts, because now the money's worth less tomorrow than it was today, and it makes everybody a little bit more poor in the next day. This is also putting in cheap, easy money into the market, which allows people to be less productive and still purchase the same amount of things. And as people are less productive, we have a shortage of goods that we need because there's a labor shortage. And this labor shortage is being fueled because they're getting cheap, easy, free money. And when you get cheap, easy, free money, you create a demand system that is now going to sit there and take the price of goods and skyrocket them up, because now instead of somebody going, man, I got to wait a couple of more paychecks before I can buy that. So now you got people going, whoa, I need to slow down. I can't purchase that. I can't afford that right now. And now you have those same people going, wow, the government just gave me money. I can afford that now. And you get people now buying, even impulse buying, things that they don't really need, or they only need it for like two-tenths of a second, right? And it only made their lives, a 16th% better. It's nothing that was long-term. It was instant gratification, and everybody moved on. It's like none of those banks around here should have sold first. Yeah. Sold my kids for a K7s. Wife's next. Should have sold her first. Yeah. And while the banks are there, and that's where people don't understand. People don't understand. Here, let me blow your mind, Automatic Beats. You got credit cards. Those are the banks that us plebeians utilize. We use the plastic banks that will allow us to indebt ourselves up to our eyeballs on 50 credit cards just because we can. Golden Wolf. No, I'm not. I have not. Just be honest. It's like only mining feather coin. Oh my God, too funny, Automatic Boots. So, I mean, it's like people need to realize that as we go through, and us plebs, we use plastic. We're credit card warriors. The upper echelon are the banking crooks, and then you have the government, which is the cartel, and they're feeding everybody the drug called dollars. Think about it. Think about it. It's like I saw it in the top 5 today, and what to mine. It comes and goes. It comes and goes with Kaspa and Zill. It depends on pricing, all that stuff. When you see it pop, when you see stuff popping into the top area, just remember everybody else is looking for that same data metrics. Everybody's looking for an advantage, and there's really nothing. There's really no comparison on trying to find the profitable coin on the same metrics everybody else is, because as soon as you see it, everybody else sees it and they move in. The only people that really benefit from that are those who are mining it previously, wait for the hype cycle, sell, and then they're mining something else. What up, Dakota Miner? Going to mine and give all my currency to my gooberment to help out. No, not like this. Ban him. Ban Dakota Miner for that one. Bad. Bad Dakota. Bad. FTC will fly again. Oh my god, the automatic. Man, if you're going to sit there and dredge up old coins like that, man, it's all about Mysterium. Just saying, it's all about Mysterium. Oh my god. Oh my god. And here we go. And one other thing I wanted to note on here before I sidetrack too much further. If you look in on the screen here, or you can look it up on your own on USDebtClock.org anytime you want. Dollar to oil ratio now per barrel, zero. Dollar ratio to oil in 1913, $2.22 per barrel. Pop quiz. What's important about 1913, guys? Does anybody know what's important about the year 1913 in the United States? That is when the Federal Reserve was created. The last time we had an honest dollar. Yes, Kevin Opar, the Federal Reserve Act. Congratulations, you know your stuff. Yo. So, the 1913 dollar, the Federal Reserve Act was created, and in what was it, 1918? I believe it was 1918 or 19. It was like somewhere right around there, right before we were starting to go into war. The first revision of the Federal Reserve Act was allowing them to run a deficit, and from there they started debasing the currency, because what is a debt ceiling if you keep moving it higher and higher and higher? And that's how we got to where we are right now. But seeing that the dollar, it was $2.22 per barrel was the dollar to oil ratio. If we were to do that in today's currency, to see it pace on track the same way, we would need, let's see here. It would have to pace in at $67.09 today. Is where this number should be. The US to dollar ratio now should be $67 per barrel or more. Period, guys. Period. And seeing that it's not shows you how garbage our currency is. and it's worse in other countries. We're one of the top ones because of the dollar milkshake theory, guys. If you're unfamiliar with the dollar milkshake theory, you put all the currency that's being created right now, you put it all into one shake, right? But there's only one straw, which means only one country gets to drink out of that straw. And historically, it's been the US. So we usually feel it less in our market because everybody else is tied in with us. The basket of goods is us, and we're destroying it right now. And we're now seeing other countries trying to figure out what to do because they're screwed. Period. They're so indebted into the U.S. dollar that there is no I can abandon this. There's only a few countries in the world that can do this. Can anybody guess what two countries will have no problem doing this? If you would guess China and Russia, you'd probably be correct. They're going to be the two countries that are going to be able to break off of the US dollar. Their markets do not need us. Period. That's why the US is engaged in a futile war trying to dethrone the government in Russia so that they can destabilize it and make it indebted to the United States. Because if they can't keep the power in, they lose the ability to be the world's reserve currency, because they need all the other countries to be in worse shape than us for us to not feel the inflation that they feel. So basically, we push our debt out onto them and they give us goods in return. That's how it's been going. But while the US dollar is strong, it works. But through COVID, we destroyed that. And now we're seeing in real time the unfolding of what looks like to be the dollar stronghold on the world. To me, I don't really care. It's something it's a natural cycle. You cannot stay king forever. Even, long live the king, type of deal. So seeing this moving forward, it makes sense why we are going after the war so badly. And in going in on the war, I mean, just the interest on the war that we are funding right now is, $537 billion just on the interest alone. And we're sitting here, we have almost a $1 trillion war budget that we are blowing through. Not only that, we're also blowing through our oil reserves, guys. So they finally printed out December's numbers of the strategic oil reserves, guys. And let's see if I can get my mouse to move back just a little bit. Okay, so November, we were at 388,419 barrels of crude oil in our reserves. As of December, guys, we are at 372,030 barrels. So we are depleting our strategic oil reserves lower than it was. Let's see here. We are right at 1983 levels of strategic oil reserves, with a military that can deplete all the oil that's in our strategic oil reserves within 6 months. Basically, the oil reserves we have is 6 months worth of war fuel if we get cut off from the rest of the world, guys. Think about that. With what's left in there, 372,000 barrels of oil is about 6 months worth of operational fuel for the military. You will be walking. There will be no fuel for us. Period. We don't have enough to operate, basically, because we are not energy independent, and they are trying to hide the inflation numbers on the fuel cost, not on diesel. I'll tell you what, man, my diesel truck, I've been sitting there paying high prices while watching gasoline go down in price. So the normal person that has a gas car, not a diesel, felt all the savings. And on top of all of that, the states and the states aren't taking in any taxes off of the fuel to give people a little reprieve. And that means that the budget for each individual state gets blown out because they're trying to help out the people, which the governments locally are too big and need an X amount of dollars in order for the local government to survive. And then you have to pay for your big government to survive on top of that. So with all of this is just like a perfect storm. There are people right now talking about a epic sized level of economic depression coming up here. And at some point in time, they're not going to be able to sit there and continue to hit up the strategic oil reserves. This is not an ongoing event. There's got to be a point in time where they go, wait, we can't do it no more. And the moment they do that, you're going to watch gas prices shoot up through the roof. We will be paying the same amount in fuel as they do in Europe. They pay like somewhere, I want to say somewhere around $20 a gallon. I think they pay something like $12, $13 a liter. It will come here if we don't start figuring out how to be energy independent here at home. Period. Good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. If we cannot be energy independent, we are going to get wrecked in the open market. And that means that each and every one of us are going to feel it in every aspect. Whether it is you can't get a loan because interest rates are through the roof. You can't get a loan because you don't make enough money for affording these new expensive cars that are being imported. You know, you can't afford these new EV vehicles because that's 60 grand plus. And you only qualify for a $5,000 car and that uses gas and you can't afford to put the gas in there. So now you're looking at going and get a bicycle instead. This is going to be an issue if there is not a policy change in how the government is handling the current events. Unfortunately, each one of us get to feel the pain and the wrath of this one, right? And this is some of the stuff that people look into. So this is the inflation rate index here. So last year, we all know that inflation peaked. They with the manipulated numbers. I'm going to caution that one in here. These are all manipulated numbers, all manipulated metrics from the government. But they're admitting 9.1% interest. Real interest rates were probably about 45-ish% interest rate. Let's be real about it, right? If you take off anything that had high interest rate, then yeah, you have 9.1% interest rate peaked. But they were expecting like a 6% or 5.9% inflation rate print for January. It printed out a 6.4. This is not in good terms. It means that the interest rate is flattening out, and that is cause of concern that it can start rebounding the other way. Once it starts rebounding the other way, they will enter back into quantitative easing. It is like basically quantitative easing to the corporate realm is like giving a drug addict more drugs. The drug for them is dollars, and they don't know how to spend it. They don't even know what to do with it. But man, they make bad decisions with it. And with them sitting there and printing more money than what they, it's like funding this war in Ukraine. We are at about $100 billion that we've sent over there. That could have been $100 billion that could have paid off some of the national debt, right? I mean, somebody like me and you who knows how to budget. I got X amount of dollars. This is all the dollars I'm going to have in. I can't get any more, but I can lose a lot more, right? How do I make this work with my budget so that I can continue to pay my bills down and operate? And they're just like, oh, we blew through that. Can we borrow some more? It's like this isn't how it works. And they're borrowing. They blew the omnibus bill that they passed back in December. The government, the U.S. government, is already back to being broke. They're broke again, guys. They're going to be asking for more money here very soon, guys. And they're now going to be squabbling and bickering about it, going, the Democrats, oh, they're trying to kill off the government, which has got racial inequality, blah blah blah. And the Republicans are going, oh, we can't get this passed because they just want to spend out of control. And then they'll bicker some more, and then we came to an agreement that this was best for the nation. It's like, so you printed more money. Yeah, but not as much as what we were thinking we were going to need. So you budgeted the borrowing, but not budgeted the budget. Exactly. It's like, this is the wrath of that, of irresponsible spending. Now we got, all these students that were still able to go to school during this whole lockdown things. It was called Zoom and remote learning. I know about these things. Just because you're not in the classroom doesn't mean you can't learn. And they're trying to sit there and say that the taxpayers need to pay for these people getting liberal arts degrees. Why am I paying for a failed degree from a big institution because your guidance counselors couldn't do their one basic job, which is help guide people into career positions that make sense? And now they're going to cry, oh, we can't get jobs. We need debt forgiveness. No, this is not communism. The working class does not pay for the non-working class. Period. That's how it's supposed to be. And now we got all these, teachers unions and colleges and stuff all getting all upset at Union Hall. Well, not union, but at the government right now, because it's going in for going in front of Supreme Court justices, and it's gonna get voted out, and they know it. This is not gonna go through. It's unconstitutional for making the John Q. taxpayer people pay for this stuff. It's bad enough that they did this with all the corporations and the individual homeowners that were being told that they had to shut their doors down. Nowhere at any point in time, like I said, did the colleges could not operate because of remote learning, period. They had technology at their fingertips to be able to overcome and get past all the hardships, period. So, I mean, like, this is going to be, like, stuff like this is where people need to pay attention that we are still, and they think that 2% is good, and they're going to try to hit 2%. And I'm telling you, they're not going to be able to do 2% at 4.75% interest rate. You got to get in front of the inflation genie. You want to do a Paul Krugner vote, or Paul Krugner or Paul Volcker, one of the two, from the 80s, where he rose interest rates up to about 12.5%, 13% interest rate to get in front of inflation. And then by 1995, because once you get the interest rate up, it takes a little while for it to respond in the market. So by 1995, when the market started finally coming back down to reality of low interest rate, of low inflation, then you had people like Alan Greenspan starting to loosen it up and starting to run hot numbers again. And then in 98, Paul Volcker put the housing market into a bubble because of bad fiscal policies. These are direct failures of bad fiscal policies. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. They're both doing this stuff. Period. And then, of course, we got our unemployment numbers that are being listed out finally, too. 3.4% unemployment rate. 5.7 million total unemployed people. Those numbers are going up a little bit here because there are more layoffs going on, because people are starting to pull back on, they build during a boom, and now they got to trim the fat. We got 2.1 million uninsurance claims, which that is actually kind of stayed flatlined right at that level. But we have more people that are officially unemployed now. A lot of these people are unemployed and either are ineligible for unemployment insurance, or people who have given up trying to get the unemployment insurance, or people who have been on it so long that they figured out other ways to get other socialized benefits to get the John Q taxpayers to pay for their way and not have to work. So it's like, I'm so glad I bought a hybrid car. It's like, as much as I like hybrid cars for what they offer us as the consumers, and I'll agree with this, Kevin, on the aspect of why us as the consumers would be interested in a hybrid car, and that's going to be mostly because we're going to be looking at the fuel savings on this. The problem that you're going to have is when that hybrid battery goes bad. That hybrid battery is, depending on your car, I'm ballparking it on average, where I've heard, because being a mechanic, I've anywhere from about $6,000 and up is your fuel, your battery cell price. Then you've got an environmental disposal fee of that battery, because they can't just recycle it because of the style of batteries those are. It's not like the lead acid batteries back in the day. These are chemical batteries that once they put these, they're just regular batteries now. Just sell lots of them together now. And the problem with that is they're precious. Some of it's got some precious metals in there that cannot be recycled. And it's an environmental hazard to be even dealing with those batteries, because if one of the cells short out, they just rupture on fire, and all you can do is throw sand on it until the chemical reaction stops. So, it's like, there's things I like about as a tech guy, I nerd out over, oh wow, yeah, the hybrid cars, or ooh wow, look at that, it's the complete the complete fully electric cars. Ooh wow, that's cool. And then you start digging into it, and you're like, oh wow, so everything I'm gonna save over here, I'm gonna spend over here. And how high does the fuel have to be for me to get that savings? And you'd be surprised that you'd be looking at, in order to save that kind of money in a reasonable amount of time, I would say you're looking at about $6 per gallon fuel. If we get $20 per gallon fuel moving forward, bro, you ahead of the curve. You're saving out the wazoo. But most people, I would say that eventually the prices will get so high, the politicians will be pressured so hard that they will have to restart allowing these companies to start drilling again here in the United States, making us independent fuel-wise once more. And it will have a little bit of a harsh time, and then things will get better. That would be my guess. The world still runs on fuel. No matter how much the green agenda might disagree, there is no viable replacement for the energy. And an energy independent nation is also a profitable nation. I'll repeat that again. A energy independent nation is a profitable nation. Everything surrounds the ability to produce energy. Energy allows you to do production. Without energy, you have no production. With no production, you have no goods. If you have no goods, you have no services. You see the trickle-down economics on that? Mm-hmm. Exactly. What up, Rude? Take it easy. Take it easy. If you're taking out of here, good night, bro. And talking about more bad policies. This is some of the reasons why I hate progressives, because they do things that it doesn't make any sense. This one from the Daily Mail. A plan to give $5 million to every black person in San Francisco to redirect years of suffering or woke posturing that strokes race hate and bankrupts the U.S. Yes. So basically, what they're talking about here is California is trying to present a bill that will basically give every black person that was basically oppressed or comes from slave descendants is going to be given $5 million. You know, what about that one white person whose heritage dates back to a slave owner, and they're, you know, the other half of their genome goes to one of the slaves. So they're now a descendant of a slave family, and they're white. They've got no black traits in them at all. They just have it in their lineage. They have like 0.0001% African American, right? And they can trace that lineage right to a slave. Are they going to give that person $5 million? You know, where does this one stop? This one is a woke agenda that is impossible to. This is about as impossible to deal with as the Illinois thinking that minors can reverse transactions. Good, and that they can prove what minor processed that transaction. Period. That will be a very funny one, because that information doesn't really exist. So good luck on that. Seriously. So every person that's been a slave owner from the 19th century, you know, that descends from a 19th century black slave, they'll be able to get compensation according to them. And it's like at $5 million per person. That's $5 million for each person to go blow it on whatever stupid shit because they didn't earn it. This will help cause inflation from the money printing to actually do the reparations. It'll further divide America for black and white. I mean, that's just a byproduct on there. But the process of trying to give every black person $5 million for something that didn't happen in their lifetime. It's like, yes. Is there racism? Yes. Is it wrong? Yes. Do I agree with racism? No. Do I agree with giving $5 million to black people because of something that happened in history? Every country out there has slavery in their history. You're not seeing them sit there and give, you know, the Germans aren't giving all the Jewish descendants, compensation. Why? Because it's history. It's a way not to be moving forward. To sit there and give people money just because you feel bad? No. No. You want to earn money. The systematic oppression from the top down, from the government down, no longer exists. Segregation doesn't exist no more from the government. And it's kind of funny because at one point in time, our president Joe Biden agreed with the segregation policies. Go figure. Just say. Same thing with good old Nancy Pelosi, who's in San Francisco. Is she trying to promote a bill because she has a guilty conscience? Ooh, that's a good one. Does she have a guilty conscience? Interesting one, right? Very interesting thought. thought experiments on that one. Why are we getting it in San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi's district, somebody who did agree with segregation? She was not a spokesperson against segregation. I'm just saying. I mean, these people want to sit there. It's almost like they're trying to give back because they feel bad for the stupid crap they did back in the day. And it's like, get over it. We're way beyond that. It's like, and paying people over this is the wrong way to go. It teaches nobody nothing. Absolutely nobody nothing other than the government's weak and will give you money if you scream loud enough. Yes. And then here's one. IRS is developing a new Biden-backed algorithm that will see more white and Asian people targeted in tax audits to boost racial equity. Bam. Another one from the Daily Mail. These are NewsGuard verified news outlets. Daily Mail, NewsGuard certified. They reported that the IRS is developing a new Biden-backed algorithm that will see more whites and Asian people targeted for tax audits to boost racial equity. Because the only way to fight racial equity is to be more racist about it, right? I don't understand where they're going with this, but they're going to be segregating it. And when you start segregating a country, you'd start dividing them. The country becomes less productive, which means that there's less taxes because people are becoming less productive. More people that come together to work on a common goal. The more people that come together on a common goal, the more productive and prosperity you have. Period. I do not understand this. It's like I'm part Cherokee and other stuff, but I play white. Did I choose poorly? I think so, Tech Man. I think so. I think we were all chose. We were, and it's like they're doing this like, oh, because you're skin color, you have more responsibility this way. It's like, no, doing this from the government side is so wrong. Nathan, I have been in their black zone for the longest freaking time. It is unreal. There's a reason why I have a low subscriber count, because I talk truths and truths get buried. So this is not gonna. They're figuring this is gonna fix all the taxation problems, and it's not. It's not gonna fix any taxation problems. Because most individual people do stupid little mistakes on there. And it doesn't matter what race they're from. It doesn't matter. Everybody makes stupid mistakes here and there on their taxes. And they're like, ooh, I forgot about this one. Ooh, I forgot about that one. And they're trying to basically think that between white people and Asian people that they're missing all of this extra money because of that. And it's like, bro, you have illegal people in the country that are working for cash under the table. And they're not spending this money here, guys. They're sitting there shipping it back to their home country to help their family over there. Or to pay the cartel back, depending on how screwed they got coming over here. Either way, that money is leaving. It's being earned here and leaving and not being taxed. And they're sitting here going, well, that's because of white and Asian people. It's like, bro, you have a few million undocumented immigrants here that are working for cash because they can't legally work here in the country. And they're not paying taxes. And it's like, you're not sitting here sending IRS agents all around town to figure out who's working where. No, you're sending IRS agents after skin color. This is not a good look on the United States. It makes us look really weak in the greater scheme of all the other countries, because all the other countries are looking at us and going, what are these Americans doing? They're more worried about skin color than the economy. These guys are retarded. And I will have to agree, yes. And no, I did not vote for this. But one thing I'm glad here in Chicago, Lori Lightfoot is not being reelected. But we have somebody in the running that's in the runoff now that's just as progressive as her. It's like, oh God, dear God, please, people, do not vote for more progressiveness. Stop voting for progressives. Ah, it's driving me nuts. But you know, it's like, as long as me and everybody else are all bickering about skin color, the politicians do what they want, because they know that we're too distracted over the stupid shit to actually pay attention to things that make more sense. And where people don't pay attention to, guys, right here. I go right back to this. The national debt is out of control. The government is too big. The people cannot afford the big government any longer. When will the people wake up? When will the people wake up? It's like, you want to know where the real kingpins are? The real kingpins wear suits, and they walk into very important buildings called the House and Senate. Yeah. Those are the real gangsters in America. The guys who are writing the policies that allow them to enrich themselves. The same very laws that they don't have to follow. They're sitting here writing legislation that's destroying the value in America and shipping it overseas. And they're more worried about how they can extract more money from more people. Eventually, it'll hit a breaking point. I just hope just not in my lifetime where I have to see it, because usually a breaking point usually means a civil war. And our country was founded on a small group of people going, no, that's wrong, and I'm not going to tolerate it no more. This country's done it twice. The Revolution and then the Civil War. Just saying. Keep it real, guys. And remember, the Civil War, contrary to people's beliefs, was not entirely about freeing slaves. Know the history a little bit better than that. That was actually a lie that we were all taught. Every one of us. So, I mean, like, these reparations that California wants to do, there's some kind of messed up hidden agenda behind it. It's just a matter of figuring out how. It's like I told you, I'll give all of my cryptocurrency to get us out of debt. Man, I hope you have I hope you have $32 trillion. It's like I have Calvin Klein blue helmets if you need practice. That's who will come and get the guns. Yeah. For sure. Or Carl Schwab's or whatever, right? Blue helmets. The UN or whoever is going to be coming in for the guns. I mean, it's going to be bad, guys. And I think that we're sitting here really hitting into the beginning of a bad recession, guys. This cannot sustain itself. It just can't. So all of that good stuff. So hate to leave you guys on such a downward note on this. I mean, I guess the positive side of it is that we're all in the crypto. We are pioneering in a monetary policy that has nothing to do with the governments, and the governments cannot control nor manipulate. All they can do is assimilate into the system that is Bitcoin. Yeah, that is true. Dakota Miner, Bitcoin to the moon. Yes, sir. Equality, not equity. Yes. No, I would say quality, not equality. It's like we need quality people producing quality goods, doing quality services. America is built on people working. America was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of patriotic people who believed in what this country stands for. And as bad as it sounds, this is the freest country in the world as of right now. And just remember, the people have more guns and ammunitions than the government does. So don't think that the government can pull one over on America for too long without America pushing back. Yeah, what was it? George Bush. He said it best. 9 words in the English language that you never want to hear. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Exactly, Tech Man. 100% Tech Man. For sure. All right, we are over that 1 hour marker, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, being a part of the conversation. The dude, what up? It wasn't George Bush. It was, thank you, dude. Thank you, dude. I stand corrected. The dude is correct. It wasn't George Bush. It was Ronald Reagan who said 9 words in the English language you do not want to hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. It was Ronald Reagan. Thank you, the dude. It was like some old smart dude said it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is true. Every once in a while, even the most corrupt politician will have one brilliant thing they say. After that, I have no use for them. So thank everybody for being here. Smash that Lizzie like button. Subscribe if you've made it this far. Hit the bell notification. All that good stuff. If you don't have any other comments or questions, drop an FA in the Chizity chat as I'm sitting here rolling out of here. Definitely drop those FAs in the chat because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. Yo! Yeah, that's right. That's right, guys. So thank you, everybody, for being here. You are the reason that I do this each and every day. And if you guys are interested in my little workout morning sessions, come hang out with me in the morning. It's just more of a chill and chat session while I'm working out. Gives me somebody to talk to at times. Otherwise, I'll be back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, or working out in the morning at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you, everybody, for being here. You all rock. Peace out. Stay savage. And may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one. Yo!